A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Mihindu Nivahana housing project launched by the Prime Minister. Plant considered to be extinct globally narrowly escapes destruction in Sri Lanka. JVP's revelation of environmental destruction in Sri Lanka. Wild elephant conflict claims the lives of 2. Minister Chamal says the environment must be protected while finding solutions to the wild elephant issue. Opposition divulges large-scale corruption within the government.
ඉදිරි අනාගතයේදී නියම විදිහට බැලුවොත් ජනාධිපති කොමිසම් පත් කරන්න ඕන ඕවට.
Up to 150 feared dead in Himalayan glacier collapse.
And now the stories in detail. The Mihindu Nivahana housing project in aid of parents who have handed over their children to the Sambuddha Sasana began today. The event was held under the auspices of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa.
The project was launched by the National Housing Development Authority and the Department of Buddhist Affairs and was held at the Buddhama Historic Rajamaha Vihara in Siamalanduwa. The project was launched under a concept of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The foundation stone of the housing project was laid by State Minister Shashendra Rajapaksa and Indika Anuruddha. We are constructing this housing project for the parents of Buddhist monks because sometimes the project is called Mihindu. You might think it is Mahinda. Because that is my name. The name Mihindu is used in the memory of the great Mihindu Mahatero. We have launched a project to provide shelters to venerable Theros. We consider that giving something to the Buddhist Theros is like giving something to the country. We do not consider things that we give to venerable Theros as a burden. We see it as an investment into the future of the country.
SJB parliamentarian Rajitha Senaratne speaking at a media briefing today highlighted a number of corrupt activities taking place in the country.
තමුන්නාසා දන්නවා ලංකා බැංකුවෙන් අයවැල් ලේඛනයට කලින් DS ගුණසේකර සමාගමට.
Before the budget proposal, the DS Gunasekar organization was given 3.1 billion rupees from the Bank of Ceylon, that is 3,100 million rupees. When the Rajapaksas go to Anuradhapura, they eat and lodge at the residence of the owner of this DS Gunasekar organization. Expecting that cigarette prices will be increased through the budget proposal, they earned 1,000 million or 1 billion rupees. Some members of the Bank of Ceylon say that this is not their fault and that they received orders from the top. I have in my hand the crib report of the DS Gunasekar organization. They have approved a loan of 3,100 million rupees in favor of this company that cannot pay back a loan of 25 million rupees. But they received the loan from the Katuwana, Veerakatiya and Beliatta branches of the Bank of Ceylon. When the board of directors met, 2 directors had objected to approving this loan. But in the end, the directors who objected to this loan were asked to resign. These are the matters that need to be investigated by commissions. Now 3,100 million rupees was given to DS Gunasekara. Although they obtained a loan, the prices of cigarettes was not increased through the budget for some reason. That happened because of the power struggle at the top. When one son approves, the other person's son rejects. Then he pays back 2,500 million rupees of the 3,100 million rupee loan, but he cannot pay back 600 million rupees. That is because he had already paid commissions for this deal.
Meanwhile, Samagi Janabalawegaya parliamentarian Patali Champika Ranawaka expressed his views on fraud and corruption in Kandy today.
The cost to vaccinate the entire population of the country will be 8 billion. But the government allows their best friend to rob 13 billion through the sugar scam. Same with the cooking oil scam. Another friend has been given the chance to rob the Bank of Ceylon based on increasing cigarette prices. The face mask robbery.
that is being carried out by the friends of this government. Sanitizers and bringing down PCR machines are all acts of corruption. If I was not vociferous about the AstraZeneca vaccine, the government was gearing up to bring down a much more expensive vaccine from China. The quarantine facility offered by the friends of this government charges 350,000 rupees from the people. The government has given their go-ahead for the tile businessmen and other businessmen to rob this country. The stock exchange is being robbed through the black money that comes from abroad. If you realistically look at it, presidential commissions must be appointed in the future for all of these.
Meanwhile, several views were expressed today regarding the nullification of a gazette notification issued on the 2nd of February by the Prime Minister in his capacity as the Minister of Finance in less than 24 hours.
Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Finance Minister and the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, issued a gazette notification banning the import of tiles. However, a couple of days ago, the Finance Minister changed his mind and lifted the ban on import of these items through an extraordinary gazette. However, the gazette issued by the Finance Minister was annulled within 6 hours. The Controller General of Imports sends a notice to all banks saying that you cannot open LCs to import tiles from overseas. Who annulled the gazette issued by the Finance Minister? It was the Controller General of Imports. Where is the person they dubbed as Prince Diasen? Where is that leader who said he'll stand by what he said and walk the talk? He is silent.
Much like the sugar tax was removed for the benefit of their associates, we are suspicious as to whether this tax removal, which was imposed only for several hours, was done so that their friends would be able to release a stock of tiles. In the guise of encouraging local manufacturers, this government is robbing the public. The government has lost more than 10 billion through the removal of the sugar tax. Today, while they're giving tax benefits to their friends who have helped them, the country has lost a lot of money. We would like to ask the government, are they trying to hand out favors to their close associates in the guise of providing concessions to the people?
Now, if I tell you that there is another country within our country, would you believe it? There are plenty of villages in Sri Lanka that has not caught the eye of the politicians, villages that are hidden in the unheard and unseen. Pitamaru village in the Badulla district is such a village.
Newsfirst reported about the Pitamaru village located in the Meegahakula Divisional Secretariat in the district of Badulla on the 11th of June last year. Due to the lack of a bridge to leave the village, hundreds of families in this village took a risk every day to cross the Kakaleoya. But times have changed. This problem will be solved after another 45 days. We at Gammadda were gearing up to bring forth solutions to these villages, but the COVID-19 pandemic was a massive barricade when it came to taking action. But the first opportunity Gammadda saw to solve this issue, we took immediate action, because we know the value of a promise we made. We at Gammadda are unable to do these things by ourselves. Mrs. Dilkushi Pusvella, who saw the plight of the people living in the Pitamaru village, assisted Gammadda in this endeavour along with her family members. Accordingly, the foundation stone for the construction of the Kaluwewa bridge in Pitamaru was laid today. The foundation stone was laid by Meegahakula Divisional Secretary NP Samaravikrama, Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group Shevan Daniel, and Newsfirst Regional Correspondent of Mahiyanganaya Buddhika Sanjeeva. This issue was identified by the Gammadda Door-to-Door initiative, and Newsfirst reported this story to the entire country. We included this issue in the Gammadda annual report for the year 2020 as well. Dreams of the villagers in Pitamaru will become a reality in 45 days. That day will be a special day for us at Gammadda as well.
Saviyai Gammadda Saviyai
While some changed Gazette notifications to favour of few, this is a report on how lives of people in Dumalasuriya have been adversely affected by negligent decisions of officials.
The Dumalasuriya Yakamunna Anicut broke down in 1996. Although plans were drafted on renovating this Anicut, they were all limited to a mere foundation stone. The Yakamunna Anicut links to the Dumalasuriya village in Kurunagala and the Madagoda village in Putlam. About 1,100 acres of paddy fields in the surrounding villages are nourished by this Anicut. These farmers have not had a proper supply of water for their fields for 20 years now. They are suffering.
කුඹුරක් කර 10 සසරේ කරගන්න අපිට ප්‍රමාණවත් ජල ධාරිතාවක් නැහැ.
Although a project was launched to construct a bridge and an anicut with 2 automated doors using Hungarian technology was launched by the previous government, this project has been stopped short. The hopes and dreams of these farmers to see lush green fields have been destroyed over the course of the past 3 years.
මේ පල්ලෙහා ඉන්න ගොයියෝ මේ වතු ටිකක් ගන්නෙත් බොහොම අමාරුයි. දේශපාලනේ ඉරුණාට පස්සේ කිසිම දෙයක් හැදිල්ලකුත් නැහැ මොකුත් නැහැ මග ඇරලා නිකන් ඉන්නවා.
This anicut that was designed using advanced technology in the past is now being opened using 2 belts made of cloth and chains.
දොරවල් දෙක තාම රඳා පවතින්නේ ලොකු රෙදි බෙල්ට් දෙකක් මත. ඉතින් ඒ බෙල්ට් දෙක දැන් අවුවට සහ වැස්සට කාදනය වෙමින් තියෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ ඒක දිරලා කැඩිලා ගියොත් නැවත දොරවල් වලටත් හානි වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Renovate this anicut without simply making election promises. That was the only request of the farmers here.
Crudia salonica, thought to be extinct since 1988, is a tree endemic to Sri Lanka. Gampaha Divisional Wildlife Officer Devani Jatilaka intervened today to stop an attempt to remove this tree located in the Gampaha district.
This rare tree was discovered in a small patch of forest located close to the Daralua railway station in Gampaha. Environmentalists point out that this tree is located on a patch of land that has been allocated for the construction of the highway from Kadawatha to Mirigama. Although it was previously agreed that the highway will be constructed in a manner that would not harm the tree, it was seen today that the trees and soil surrounding this tree had been removed. Gampaha Divisional Wildlife Officer Devani Jayatilaka visited this site where many other trees had already been uprooted.
I don't understand what to do. They said they were not going to do anything from this boundary, but if I didn't come here, they would have bulldozed the remaining trees as well. I came here and stopped this. When we look around here, we can see how much the environment here has been destroyed. The value here is not only in the trees, but in the entire ecosystem. Look around here. How long do you think it takes for these vines to grow? How long does it take for this ecosystem to form? We cannot recreate an ecosystem like this.
මේ පරිසර පද්ධතියක් නැවත නිර්මාණය කරන්න අපිට බැහැ.
When we inquired of this matter from the Director General of Wildlife, Chandanasurya Bandara, he said that no decision has been reached to remove the Crudia silonica tree from the area. However, he added that there was an agreement reached with the Road Development Authority to relocate the tree to a suitable location.
There is a question as to if Sri Lanka has the technology to relocate this tree. When this tree is relocated, we cannot be sure as to if the tree will grow or die. There is also an issue with the protected species that are here. They have bulldozed this area without looking into any of these matters. We have not been informed as to what is being done here or if these areas will be protected. As far as I know, the decision reached at all the meetings that we attended was that the road must be diverted and this ecosystem must be protected. That was the unanimous decision of the biologists. How did they make a different decision and why?
Now, when we inquired the Minister of Environment, Mahinda Amaravira, on the matter, he said that an official was appointed to look into the matter as soon as he was notified of the issue. He confirmed that all necessary steps will be taken to ensure that this rare tree is protected. Now, several incidents surrounding the ongoing human-elephant conflict have been reported from the Thalawa, Katagasthigilia, Galenbidunuvava, Vavuniya and Valikanda areas, much to the frustration of villagers.
A herd of 19 elephants that stormed into the village of Hingurua in Anuradhapura this morning destroyed the belongings of several villages. Elephants that emerged from the Wilpattu reserve encroached the villages of Acharigama and Morogoda, leaving behind a massive trail of destruction. Area residents point out that these elephants entered the forest in the morning before returning at night. 6 wild elephants stormed into a village in Anuradhapura today, while Newsfirst correspondent Nuranga Samarasinghe was on a visit to the area to report on the plight of the villagers. The failure of officials enjoying the comfort of their air-conditioned rooms to understand the gravity of this problem remains a question for the villagers.
අලි 19 දිනක මහත්තයා මම මේ උඩ පැලේ හිටියේ. අලි වෙඩි දෙකයි අහස්කුරු 15ක් දැම්මා. රතිඤ්ඤ රෝලයක් ඉවර නිකන් දැම්මා. අලියෙක් හැරුණා තියා මොනවත් කරේ නැහැ. එහෙම හිටියා. ඊට පස්සේ ඉතින් මට මොනවත් නැති නිසා මම ටෝච් එක ගහන අලි දිහා බලන්න හිටියා.
A farmer fell victim to a wild elephant attack while watching over his cultivation in the Mukiriyawa area in Katagasthigilia this morning. The deceased has been identified as a 48-year-old and a father of 4. He had visited his field with another farmer with the hope of protecting his crops from the marauding elephants. However, a wild elephant that stormed into the fields this morning had claimed the life of one farmer who toiled hard to feed his family. The other farmer had managed to flee the area and escape unhurt. A 65-year-old farmer of Alutkama in Galenbidunuvava was another casualty of a wild elephant attack that had occurred yesterday. The farmer, who was attacked while travelling on a motorcycle, had been admitted to the intensive care unit of the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital. Unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries this morning. The failure to provide a solution to the long-standing human-elephant conflict has claimed the lives of wild elephants as well. A death of a wild elephant that had been electrocuted after coming into contact with an electric fence was reported from Vavuniya today. According to wildlife officials, the elephant was about 25 years old at the time of its death. Villagers of Boatta took to the streets this morning to voice out their frustration due to the long-standing human-elephant conflict. The only demand of these villagers was to prevent wild elephants from encroaching their area and causing destruction to their homes and fields and posing a threat to the people's lives.
ඒ විනාශ කරන එකේ ප්‍රතිඵලයක් විදිහට තමයි මේ වනාලි ගම් වදිනේදී මේකට කිසිම විදිහට බලධාරියෙක් කටයුතු කරන තාක්ක පෙන්වන්නේ.
The human-elephant conflict is at its worst across 131 divisional secretariats in 19 districts of the country. Researchers attribute the worsening conflict to unscientific and outdated solutions coupled with inefficient development activities. They also observe cultivation using water drawn from rivers, storing harvest at homes, cultivating perennial crops, and the insecure movement of locals within elephant habitats has also aggravated the problem. According to researchers, this problem is spreading across several other parts of the country as well. At least 70% of the country's wild elephant population are currently roaming across areas that have not been classified as wildlife reserves. Attempts taken by the Department of Wildlife Conservation to capture these elephants during the past 70 years has proven to be futile. Releasing large expanses of land, including elephant habitats, to multinational establishments such as the Dole Company is another main cause for this problem.
Minister of Irrigation Chamal Rajapaksa stated that solutions to the human-elephant conflict must be provided in a manner that will preserve the environment.
Humans cultivate banana, clearing the jungles where elephants roam, and as a result, the elephants encroach on villages and chaina cultivations. If chaina cultivations are there, this won't happen. That is why President allowed Chena cultivation to be continued during that time period. Chena cultivation won't be continued. Certain factions misinterpret his judgment as an order to clear forests. That will not happen. We need to abide by the law. The environment must be protected. Then we need to focus on other issues as well.
Meanwhile, Politburo member of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa, expressed these views regarding environmental destruction.
At 9:30, the President said that his government is dedicated to forest conservation. At 11:30, a story was published stating that permission has been granted to mine sand in the Kalu River. As a result, the sea level is above the Kalu River. The sand mining is not done by the general public. They are carried out by those who contributed to election campaigns. Sand permits are a gift to cover expenses.
The protest march organized by civil organizations in the north and the east based on several demands ended in Pokandi, Daphna today. The protest march began on the 3rd of this month from Potuville, Ampara.
Representatives of religious and civil organizations, university students and representatives of political parties who gathered in the Kilinochchi town today began the protest march. A tense situation arose when police attempted to hand over a court order prohibiting the demonstrators from protesting in the area. Thereafter, the protesters travelled across the Kilinochchi town. The protesters' demands include calls for the release of land, release of political prisoners, increasing the daily wage of estate workers to 1,000 rupees, and a solution to the issue of missing persons.
The Sri Lankan government must tell the truth. These religious leaders, children and parents want to know what happened to their missing loved ones.
They also demonstrated against the mandatory cremation policy.
This is the unity of Tamil and Muslim people who speak Tamil. If we work together, we can secure all our rights. That is why we too joined this protest. By working together, we will be able to find solutions to all the issues in the north and the east.
The debate on the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Port is not over yet. For a detailed report on the latest developments on the East Container Terminal and the political discussion on the issue, we are joined by Charlene Benedict. Charlene?
Yes, of course, Arundhati, the discussion on the East Container Terminal has not ended yet. And this will be proved, of course, by the reports that we will air on news tonight. There have been questions raised by the opposition as to if protecting the East Container Terminal and not selling the East Container Terminal or a part thereof to an Indian company was the true intention of this government. Of course, from within the government itself, members of the government continue to express various views, different views regarding the East Container Terminal. However, the most recent development surrounding the East Container Terminal is, of course, the massive protests that have erupted in India against the Adani Group that was, of course, linked with the East Container Terminal deal. And the protest launched against this specific group by an Indian political party, Naam Tamila, of course, together with the farmers from across India. Now, also, these reports that we air will confirm to you the fact that the East Container Terminal is still a topic of debate and controversy here in Sri Lanka. Also, questions were raised as to if there was massive influence from external parties with regard to the East Container Terminal in Sri Lanka in the past that resulted in a change in the political landscape here in the country.
What did Gotabaya Rajapaksa say? He said that his stance was to give away 49% of the East Container Terminal to the Adani Group of companies while vesting a 51% stake with the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. He said proposals can be discussed based on this condition. Then Mahinda Rajapaksa came out and denied any knowledge about this. He said that if trade unions had discussed the matter with him, he would have assured that the terminal would not be given away. But he was at the cabinet meeting where Minister Rohita Gunawardena put forward a cabinet paper. The present rulers have fallen to their knees while declaring that the West Container Terminal would be given away if not for the East Container Terminal. Why has this happened? The henchmen of Gotabaya Rajapaksa are now claiming that the East Container Terminal was saved by Gotabaya. From whom was it saved? Who planned to give it away? Was it us, the trade union leaders, or any other group? After their attempts to give this away proved futile, they are making various statements to gain political mileage.
ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක දෙන්න ගිහිල්ලා දෙන්න බැරි වුණාට පස්සේ දැන් නිකන් අර ලකුණු දා ගන්න කතාවක්.
When India asked for the East Container Terminal, I said it would be fine to do that. But some minor political parties and trade unions opposed this. They insisted that this country needs its assets and that it must not be given away even for investments. This country cannot be developed by campaigning for nationalism without a genuine intention. It has been 73 years since we received independence. During the war, we obtained the assistance from the US, India and Japan. A stock of vaccines was imported from India for free of charge. We accept whatever is given by any country, but we cannot give away anything. What a country this is. A two-way process is required. There is no genuine intention behind speaking out for nationalism. Their so-called allegiance to the country is not reflected, at least through their clothes, as they wear branded products. There are minor groups that are acting in this manner.
3D animator Dinura Vijayasundara, who was visiting the Madul Sima mini worlds and has gone missing. The police stated that the incident was reported this morning.
Dinura Vijayasundara is employed as a 3D animator in Sirasa TV. Being a resident of Maggona Kalutara, he is 35 years of age. According to the police, 12 people including 6 doctors have participated in the tour. According to our correspondent, the group visiting the mini worlds and had spent the night at the location.
They were under the assumption that he had come to the vehicle. Because of the rain, they too had to come to the vehicle. When they arrived at the vehicle, Dinura was missing. They had searched for him. The police was informed at around 3:30.
Even though rescue operations for Mr. Vijayasundara were carried out by the police and the army this morning, it was stopped due to the heavy fog. Further investigations are being carried out by the Madolsima police.
Minister of Public Security retired Rear Admiral Sarath Weerasekara reiterated that his proposal to provide military training to the youth of the country will be presented to Parliament. He expressed his views attending a function in Colombo today.
The Colombo District Conference of the Public Security Committee pilot project was held today at the Maharagama National Youth Centre. There are at least 25 members in each one of these committees. Honourable Minister, these 25 members include principals, teachers and state officials at a regional level. These people appointed to each committee are well-renowned and well-respected people. If you look at this on a national level, there are 14,022 divisional secretariats. And if you have 25 members in each committee, there will be a 350,000 strong active workforce at your disposal, ready to work with the police. There can be no underworld gangs, rapists, abusers, robbers and drug dealers in a society where you can live without fear and suspicion. The main objective of these public security committees is to communicate to the police information on crimes including drug smuggling and illicit liquor sales in these areas to take the necessary action against them. We call Sri Lanka a religious country. I get the intelligence briefings every morning at 6:30 AM. And when I see that every morning, I am saddened by it. I wonder if our country is really a religious country. If there is a proper mechanism to nab criminals as soon as a crime is committed, the criminals will be scared. If we can publish their pictures on the media after they commit the crimes and punish them, then they will be scared and ashamed of what they did. If a person who commits a crime is found not guilty in court, that is a mistake of the court. There are good people in the society, but there are people who have no discipline or patience. I said that the youth must be given military training about 2 to 3 weeks ago. I was heavily criticized for that. That was only a proposal. I will definitely make a proposal in Parliament that will be debated and passed in Parliament. But my honest opinion is that the youth must be given military training just like us to reduce the number of crimes in the country. Then we can create a generation of children who have proper discipline and patience. And if we are successful in doing this, then we might be able to truly call Sri Lanka a religious country. You have strong intelligence units in the country. Use those intelligence units and find out who is bringing down drugs into the country. If they can't find out who are doing these, there is no strength in these intelligence units. So we ask not to treat these matters lightly by speaking of it at a village level. Look into this matter as a bigger issue. Use the intelligence units. All the people in the country know very well the names of the big drug dealers in the country. So we would like to clearly say that you cannot do this while protecting the big drug smugglers in the country.
Taking another look at the Himalayan story, as many as 150 people were feared dead after a Himalayan glacier broke and crashed into an Indian dam early this morning, with floods forcing the evacuation of villagers downstream. The disaster has been dubbed the Himalayan tsunami due to the torrents of water unleashed in the mountainous area. We apologize for that technical difficulty that we experienced a short while ago, but with that we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Arundhati Mudannayaka, together with our interpreter this evening, Brian De Cruz. Good night.